All right, so you might be thinking, Brittany, why are you talking so much about mindset? And why aren't we talking about a 1, 2, 3 step plan to get our new home? And it's because this is step one. This is a very crucial step. The moment you start believing that you deserve that home, it's actually going to come to you faster. So let's talk about how we get to that point in your home ownership journey so it's smooth sailing. So, what if I told you your inner dialogue is actually subconsciously sabotaging your desire to get a new home? Like you're literally telling yourself things that you think are helpful, but it's actually negatively affecting the process of moving forward because you literally have to rewire your mindset to be prepared to be the person who is ready and willing, knowledgeable, and competent in all of those great things to owning a home. And trust me, there's nothing wrong with you. This is just something that you have to build awareness for before you actually can do something about it. And so I'm helping you build that awareness so we can move forward and you can get your home as soon as this year. So before we go any further, I do want you to stop, go back and watch my last video about the sneaky good intention habits that are actually stopping you from getting your new home. So first you need to identify what you're doing now that's not working for you, that's not serving you before we start to talk about how you can change your mindset, because you need to understand how that's manifesting so you can stop doing those things ASAP. We want to get you on the positive path to your home, and that is best done by just not giving your time, energy, and effort to those things that are actually holding you back. So go watch that video and then come back here. Okay, welcome back. Hey. So I want to start off talking about this concept from James Clear. You probably know who he is. He wrote the book Atomic Habits. And that book is so popular, talking about how to basically take a very small task and building small tasks upon each other until you have a full-on routine doing things that you love, that serve you, and all that great stuff. But before James Clear wrote the book Atomic Habits, he had a blog on Medium. And Medium is like Substack before Substack. And I followed him way back in the day when he was still on there. And he was talking about the different concepts that impact our habits, whether they're effective or not, whether they are good or healthy for you or not. And one of the concepts that really stuck with me was the concept of motion versus movement. Essentially, when you're stuck in a motion task, you feel like you're making progress. You were doing all the right things to get to your goal. But in reality, it is a self-serving task that is only helping you essentially like feed your dopamine hits that are required to make it feel like you're doing something positive, great, and fun. However, when you're going after a task that actually provides movements, you are making real progress towards the goal that you're after. And there is a difference between the two, but sometimes it's hard to notice in the thick of things because you might be mentally holding yourself back subconsciously from moving forward. Motion might be a good task to help you get started, to start to pretty much put your brain on notice. Hey, this is something that I'm interested in, so that it starts to recognize those things out in the world. For example, when I was interested in buying a new car in 2018, I saw a cherry red Jeep Compass, and it was so pretty. It was the first time I noticed a Jeep Compass. Jeeps weren't even on my radar. Then I started seeing Jeeps everywhere. And I'm sure you've experienced this before too. The moment you really build awareness around something, you start noticing it everywhere. Well, those motion tasks can help you start to notice potential real estate information, homes on the market, first-time home buyer programs, things that are probably out in the wild already, but you never noticed before. Now that you are noticing them now, they can help you on your progress with movement tasks moving forward. But you do not want to get stuck doing motion tasks, okay? And we're going to help you get past that in this video. By the way, I'm Brittany. I am your money mindset coach in real estate, specifically the home buyer journey. And why would you even want to hear advice from me? Well, in 2020, my husband and I went out and bought our first home when we thought we were not qualified. We did not have 20% to put down. We did not have stellar credit scores. And I had student loans that was hindering us, at least that was my assumption, from purchasing a home. We overcame that. We became homeowners. We dealt with financial ups and downs, recovered from them, all through my money mindset coaching that I did on myself and things that I just learned along the way that improved my money management process for myself, and then also helping my husband, because we take care of our finances separately, but we still bring them together at the end of the day to support our family. And that's what makes me qualify for this. I also was a Texas real estate agent for a couple of years and a real estate investor for 1 year. So I know a little bit about the industry. So let's talk a little bit more about the motion tasks that have you thinking that you're making progress. It's actually fake progress because we're feeding into this desire to have a dopamine hit. Essentially, when you're stuck on social media and you don't know why, it's because it's satisfying different mental snaps that make us feel good, that make us feel like we're doing something fun, we're doing something productive, we're doing something that is contributing to our lives, but it's actually stopping us from making any movement. And so what we're going to do is replace those with meaningful tasks that help us to move forward. But like I said, it all starts with your mindset before you start doing physical tasks that may not be effective because you're not in the right headspace yet. So the first thing you're going to do is identify if you are letting the fear of rejection or comparison stop you. If you feel like you will spiral out of control because you're rejected for a home loan, let's stop and think about why you feel that way. If you're rejected from getting a new home loan, is that stopping you from living your life now? Is that stopping you from making progress in your life? Typically, when you talk to a new loan officer, they're going to give you steps that you can take in the next 3 to 6 months to make you better prepared to purchase your home. Their no isn't a no. It is a maybe, it is a someday, it is a let me help you get to the next step. So identify if that fear of rejection is what's stopping you and think about ways that you can encourage yourself that there is safety even in the rejection. Going back to what I suggested in the last video, you're going to journal about it. Or you're going to do a voice memo, a voice recording, and just talk through your thoughts. You're going to talk to your therapist about it. You're going to talk to your partner about it. Actually talking through it and processing why you have those thoughts will help you overcome it. And the same goes for fear of comparison. You have no idea what people's story looks like on the back end, especially if you're comparing someone's stage 10 to your stage 1. It's not helpful in the end, and it isn't a healthy comparison. So what you're going to do is find inspiration, find things that you might sneakily be envy of, and figure out if those are things that you actually want to aspire to. Maybe instead of being envious of a friend, asking them to go out with you and ask a couple questions about how they got to where they are. But then also remember, everyone's on their own journey, and different people are in our lives for different seasons, different reasons, and maybe even for life. You want to make sure that you're leveraging that relationship. Okay, that sounds very business-like, but that's not where I was going with it. But I want you to be able to leverage those relationships so that you can find your best self, your best version of yourself. And guess what? If that does not work out, it might be a relationship that you just need to distance yourself, at least in this season, so that you can focus on your home buying journey without being distracted by comparing yourself to that person. Another mindset thing to overcome is the severity of the decision to buy a home. You might like a lot of advantages and benefits that come along with being a new homeowner, but the responsibility, permanence of the decision, as if it's irreversible, and even maybe the location. It might feel limiting because you can't get up and move if you are a wanderlust kind of person. But I want you to know that even though it is a big decision and it's a great decision, it is something that can be changed down the line. Another quick story for you. My husband and I purchased our home in 2020. Guess what? By 2022, we were in a new place. We decided to sell so that we became more nimble and had a little bit more flexibility if we decided to move out of state for a new job. And guess what? We did. And that was after owning a home for just a year. Now, things change, circumstances definitely change from year to year, and the market definitely adjusts. But for us, it made sense. It happened to be a good market where we earned enough equity to sell our home and not have to owe any money. We actually made a little bit. So keeping in mind that there are opportunities to maybe rent your place, to find a roommate, to even sell it so that you don't feel so tied to the responsibility or the permanence of it all. It is possible to at least explore that experience now for a couple of years and then decide to sell it, rent it, or move on to a bigger home. Let go of that fear if that's something you're holding on to, because it might be stopping you from a beautiful experience, even if it's not a forever home. Literally, your first home is called your first home because it's not your forever home. So don't feel like you're tied to it like a chain and ball. That is not the case at all. It is an opportunity for you to grow to the next stage in your homeownership journey. Another way to overcome any mindset thoughts that are actually limiting you because of assumptions that you're making is to talk to people who are homeowners, whether it's your parents, older siblings, friends, or even mentors at work who have their own home. Interview them and ask them questions about their home buying journey and what are some pieces of advice that they'll give you now. It's very easy sometimes for us to fall into the trap that everything we need to know is on a ChatGPT search, a Perplexity search, or even a social media hunt. But that isn't the end all. And honestly, you're going to get the best answers from people who have lived the experience, who have lived through different economic eras, who have lived through different life seasons, who can give you perspective. And they can address some of your concerns. They may not be experts, but they are real people with real experiences with owning a home, maybe even losing a home and then purchasing a new one. That reassurance can help you overcome any doubts or fears or hesitations that you have that's stopping you from taking that next step. Literally, you might have everything lined up before you. At least a quarter of adults in the US are home mortgage ready, meaning that they meet all the qualifications to purchase a home, but something's stopping them. What's stopping you? If you're one of those people, what's the mindset thing that is stopping you from taking that next step? I want you to identify it through talking with others who you aspire to be like with your home ownership journey. And then also by processing any thoughts that you have that come up negatively. It'll sound like a little voice in the corner of your head, and it's always negative. First of all, we're going to address that that is not you. That is just negative thinking trying to insert itself into your thought process. You're going to figure out what it's saying, and then you're going to do some type of journal, written or verbal, as to why you think you had those negative thoughts coming up and how to overcome them. Thinking about all of the things we talked about so far in terms of fear of rejection, fear of comparison, not feeling like you can be a free spirit once you have your new home. All of those and others that you might find come up can help you overcome that mindset limitation that's stopping you from making progress even faster. And honestly, once you make that shift, it literally signals the universe for things to align for you. People who are prepared and have perfectly aligned themselves, well, not even perfectly. You don't have to be 100% aligned. You just have to show that you're trying. Literally, luck will come your way. Opportunities will come your way. And the information that you've been seeking will actually seek you out because you positioned yourself to receive it, to understand it, and to move forward and actually take action, not to just hear it and let it go out the other ear. So if you're still confused about what you should actually be doing, like tangibly doing, to overcome your fear of rejection, your fear of moving forward, your fear of being successful in getting this new home, think about what the scary next step is for you. Is that talking to a lender? Is that reaching out to a realtor you've been following in your neighborhood that you've never sent a DM message to? Trust me, they are excited for DM messages. They want your DM message. Take that scary first step. And honestly, that's the next thing meant for you because that's the thing that's going to help you overcome any assumptions, any mindset limitations that are stopping you from reaching your goal this year. So of all these things that I listed, I want you to take at least one micro action this week. And then most likely will include talking to someone or doing some type of journal session, whether it's writing or verbally. Once you do that, you'll start on your journey to feel better about feeling confident to make the next step. Now, I know you're here to hear about the actual steps that you need to be taking, whether it's saving money, doing a lender application, and what that timeline looks like. Don't worry, I got you. I got you. I'm not going to leave you hanging. We're actually going to talk about that in the next video. So click below or wait for it next week, depending on when you catch this one. And we will get to that checklist to help you feel ready to buy your home literally in like the next 3 months if you want, but up to like 6 months or 9 months if you're really serious about getting it this year. I can't wait to see you in the next video. We're going to really get to the meat and potatoes and it's going to be pretty good.